Coach, I wanted to thank you for the AMD help earlier.
Oh yeah, are you crushing it on that?
And I made $17,944.
Oh my gosh, nice job. Let's look at it. I had marked 119.50. Remember, I said don't go long unless it breaks 119.50. Look at what it did, everybody. It hit 119.45 and pulled back, crashed. That's awesome. Did you say you made $17,000 on that trade?
Yeah, I went a little bit heavy. I had 300 contract.
What a rock star. Yeah, and look at it. It's trying to pull right here, right? Look at this thing. Just be careful. You got VWAP right here, and everything is bunched together. So take a look at this, partner. Right here, you see how it's all jammed together?
Yes.
So this one you got to be careful of. Just like if I shorted it below VWAP, well, then I've got to be careful right here. So in my head, if I was looking at this, and I wanted to short it again, I'd actually wait till the break of this 118.30 range. You see it? Because if I try to short right at VWAP, it could get close, bounce, trying to get back up to this 9. Just like right now, I don't want to long this, everybody, because it's jammed up. And if I longed it right here, let me show you. The next level of resistance is right here. See it? So what I want to do is, if I'm going to be working this one now, I want to wait for the break of that 119.04 to get you to the 200 to get you back to 119.50. And if I'm looking at to the downside, I want to wait to the break of 180.30 to get our moves to the downside on those. So just be mindful of what's around there. See, and look at that bounce. So right here, we get a break now. This 119.04, we're going to get a ride to the 200 most likely, right? So here we go. There it is. Now that's technically the 200, just so you know. Right there's your 200. There's your upside. Shed, shed, shed. If it breaks the 200, I'll add. It pulls back. I'm out, waiting for the next setup. Make sense, everybody? Over and over. So we're going to run it right now. Bruno, if you would post it. $5,000 one-time payment, diamond lifetime, unlimited, all of our member services, including the mentorship, which is $6,000 a year by itself, a year. You guys can get it right now. You'll have access to everything. The premium, VIP, VIP gold, the futures, futures VIP, futures VIP gold, crypto, crypto VIP, crypto VIP gold. You guys will get access to the breakout rooms. You guys will get access to weekend training. You get access to all the advanced training videos, all the workshop classes, all the mastermind classes. You will get all of it.
To those folks out there listening,
yes,
that aren't sure about this, I'm telling you, I am jealous of you guys that are going to get it today. You guys don't know how awesome of an opportunity this is at $5,000. Coach ain't paying me to say this. I'm just not to where I need to be or want to be. You guys get ahead of me. Take advantage of this. Do it. It's awesome. You won't kick yourself in the butt.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, and just so you guys know, that is a $20,000 service. I'm not exaggerating. I sell that for $20,000. We had it on sale for a little bit for $10,000. That is a $20,000 service with over $50,000 worth of services. So some of you are like, oh, that's really expensive. That's obviously not for you. Some of you that have been in here for longer than 2 minutes, you know what a value that is. And you know how fast 5,000 is when we are using our trading strategies, not financial techs or investment advice, results not guaranteed. But you guys understand the difference now being in this room and anywhere else.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to, you know what? I realize I don't have my hat. Hold on. Give me a second. Yes, I need to redread. It's getting thick. All right. Welcome, everybody, to American Dream Trading's The Aftermarket Live Chat and Watch Party. I'm your host, Dawn, aka J&J Video Reacts. And this is a stream that we created for you guys to be able to have a place to come and chill after the market, because the market can be stressful. And we want to also continue to focus on Coach's strategies. Who happens to be down there in the chat? What up, Coach? Thank you for that message. I've been trying to put that out there that we need support. We need everybody to come and hang out. That's what the show was created for. You know, we have people that always have questions and they want to talk about mindset and stuff like that. So that's another reason why this show is here. So once again, let's act like we know and let's get on board and just make this the best show ever. Coming up on the panel, hang out. We've got people here in the backstage ready to come on stage, and you know who you are, that are brand new to the group, don't even know all what's going on, and they're here. So support, you know what I mean? Try to support. We support, each other. That's how we do. People helping people. And the show will just continue to get better and better and better for you, right? It's for you. It's your show. It's not my show. It's your show. It's a show where you can come and just be yourself and just ask questions and do what you need to do. So tonight, we got a special treat. We're going to try to focus on EWO entries. Everybody's always talking about EWO, which is the best strategy, especially if you're a brand new trader, for you to get in and be able to hold on to the runners, right? We don't hold on to losers. We hold on to the winners, though. But there is a way to do it, right? But before we get into that, make sure you guys are doing what we do, and that would be smashing that like button, sharing the video out, sharing the content out, getting it looked at. Subscribe if you are not subscribed. Don't forget, we're trying to get American Dream Trading up to 20,000 subscribers. We hit the 15K. And now we're at 15,144 with only 48.59 to go. So we're on our way. Let's get that thing happening. So, I don't want to keep us too long, because that was an amazing class that Bruno had. The workshop class on support and resistance. I'm going to tell you, if you are a gold member or a diamond member, you've got that recording, or you will have it soon. So definitely, if you missed it, check it out. So let's get with it. We've got backstage. All right, we've got Trent T, we've got Milk Money, and yes, we've got Sour. So let's bring them on stage to talk about these EWO entries. What's up, folks?
He's even nerdier than I am.
I didn't need that.
What's up, Sour? Good to meet you, bro.
Yes, good to meet you too.
So I hear you are, and Trent, what's going on, man? Are you there? Trent, you with us? Got your mic on? Are you muted? Maybe he's muted. But in any event, I hear you're killing it with the EWO. Sour, tell us about it.
Well, I think I've been getting up
doing,
in the morning for pre-market for 2 weeks now.
Okay.
And I'm hearing everybody's voice every morning for more than 8 hours. And that's longer than my work shifts have been for a long time.
Right.
So I've gotten quite used to hearing everybody's voice. And fortunately, 2-minute EWOs are, in my opinion, pretty dang easy.
They're the best, right? But everybody has a hard time with them. So what are you doing that is making it easier for you?
Well, it's the only thing that I'm learning. I think that's probably a good portion of how I'm catching on to it so quickly.
Yeah.
I know Ange started working on scalping when she first started, and the transition between scalping and EWOs is probably not the easiest, but I wouldn't know because I started on EWOs.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, I'll tell you what. The hardest part to me seems like it would be sitting in it all day, right? And this is funny because they used to joke and call me Diamond Hands Dawn because I would sit in trades for so long. And the EWO is what I trained on to do that with. And it does get to you when there's pullbacks that happen, but when you get in early enough, that is when the magic happens because you can't not make money, even with pullbacks, right?
Mm.
So what are you guys doing with your entries? Like, are you getting in on the second candle, or are you making sure that you're not getting in when there's a resistance line? How's it working for you with the entry?
Well, I learned to enter the 2-minute EWO on the second green candle or red.
Yep.
But as I've learned about support and resistance lines, especially today,
yeah,
my entrance can look a little different. But I also believe that if you're not entering on the 2-minute EWO, it's considered a scalp. And I'm not a scalper. So if I see that, I have to keep that in mind that I'm probably not going to be in that trade for very long.
He said, I'm not a scalper. It's good that you know that. You've already identified you don't get down with the scalp, huh?
I don't want to.
But sometimes you're forced to. I get it. You want to get in with an EWO, but and you may have the second candle, but there may be a resistance line that you have to wait for, and then you end up getting in later and later in that entry. And in that case, you scalp, I guess, right?
Right. And I don't know everything that has to do with scalping. What I know about scalping is what I hear Boomer or Mark talking about in the futures chat, and what Ange has, what I've watched her do over the last couple months. So it's hard because I don't want to scalp. And EWOs can turn into scalps. So I still have to know how to properly handle those situations.
Right.
Which I am still learning.
It's funny you said that because EWOs can turn into scalps and scalps can turn into EWOs, right? Without mixing the two, because you don't mix the. See, I think that's what people don't get. You don't mix the two strategies. They're two separate strategies. Can they morph into each other? Yeah. There can be an attempted EWO that turns into a scalp simply because you couldn't get in at the proper timing, right? Because there were roadblocks in the way. So it turned into a scalp, which means at the first sign of trouble, you might want to go ahead and get out. But there's also scalps that have turned into extended scalps that would mimic an EWO because you ended up sitting in it for like an hour, So yeah. Have you done both of those at this point?
I've seen both. I've been in a lot of 2-minute EWOs the last 2 weeks. I'd say there's probably 8 or 9 of them that I would be proud of.
Yeah, like the gold. I heard about the gold, dude.
That's my favorite. I would yeah, that's definitely my favorite. That's
How
definitely
long
what
were
I
you
paid.
in that one?
Oh, shoot. Hold up. I'm gonna look at my journal real quick. Which
He's got his journal. Oh my god, this kid is awesome.
The journal is a little special. I wouldn't be able to show you it because it is in a book inside of a video game.
Okay, that's pretty innovative. So you got a virtual journal or a digital journal?
Yep.
The book itself is inside of a video game and you can write in it.
Yeah.
Dude, that is sick.
Yeah. It's just like writing on a Google Doc, except
Yeah.
for it's in a video game.
That's pretty cool.
I'm also playing. It's Minecraft. I don't know if a lot of you guys are really old. I don't know. I don't want to push video game knowledge onto anybody. Anyways,
I've heard of it.
My journal says that it was a 500 tick drop. This was on the 14th, so middle of last week.
God.
That'd have been Wednesday.
And you got all 500 of those ticks?
Yeah.
Nice. That is sweet. And you have got to be proud.
Sometimes he gets in before me. He'll like send me a text. No, this is a whatever the today's slang is, like greatest gold trade on the planet. And I'm like, what? Like, and I told you guys the other night, like I actually went through my list and I made it smaller because I'm finding myself buried in deep with all the the futures contracts. And here he is over here in gold and he's sending me text messages. You in this? Oh, this ES, you in this? Like, no, I'm not. Son of a biscuit. This is not happening. He's not going to be better at this than me. Come on.
Oh, that is funny. Hey, what happened there?
I will be better.
Oh, and the competition starts. The
Game
gauntlet
on,
has been
son.
dropped. The gauntlet has officially been dropped here on the Aftermarket. He said, I will be better. Wow.
But how cool, right? Like, how cool is
That
it
is.
that we can strip this down? You know, we can strip down this process that coaches created and put in the forefront of the business, and you can put it in front of somebody who's never seen any of this before. And if they have enough discipline to come in here and actually learn it, and take what we teach every single day and just do exactly what they're told. I mean, how many people that are in the chat currently that didn't journal today? How many people?
Go ahead, you can admit it.
Oh, I
Trent,
did.
you got your camera working. Hey. Go ahead, guys. Admit it.
I journaled. But like, how many people, right? Like he's been doing this for 2 weeks, and what's really great, right, is so he's been on this journey this whole time. He is the reason I am here. Let's be honest. He is the reason that he goes, Mom, we're all getting older. It's time for you to get a hobby. And he said in the kitchen the other night, he goes, now look what we're doing, and looking at it from a bigger picture. So EWO is great, and to break it down into small pieces, if you can't slow your mind down enough, we talked about this a little bit this morning, break it down into chunks until you can get it. If you have that fast-paced mind, I have that too. But once I figured it out and how I could break it down so I could, add chunk over chunk over chunk, it's been fine ever since. And then, of course, I have my fidget spinner, which was also his idea. You're welcome, Sour. Yes. This also helps.
Break that down for us a little bit. So you said, what do you mean chunk by chunk by chunk?
So if you're learning the EWO, right, and you're just like, oh, I mean, we hear this every day. Oh, I just can't. I got to scalp. Oh, I got to have that hit. I got to do. Oh, I'll never. I was there. I said all those things too. The first thing I did was I came across in the EWO training files that we have, that we get trained on every single week and day and all the times in the world, right? And having access to all those in the VIPs, all the trainings, right? There's one that coach has in there. He said you could take it. You could take everything off your Webull and not even look at your chart and just look at the bottom section, which is the EWO section on the 2 minute. Start with that and get in every single time there's that second bar that's bigger than the previous, and just do that for a while until you get it. And that's your best way for you to get in and learn how to get in on your entries. So that's the very first thing I did. I'm like, well, by God, I'm going to try this. I tried it in January, and in my mind, after all of the trainings that I've watched, I was like, I'm waiting for 6-star trades. I'm waiting for these 6-star setups, and waiting for that after being a scalper will make you want to poke your own eyes out.
Right.
No, you're waiting for a 6-star setup. And
yeah.
I mean, you can do it. You make a lot of money doing it. But by God, when you go from doing those scalps, like that will make you want to rip your hair out.
I mean, that's like watching water boil. Like,
oh my
any
word,
slow process you can think of,
oh my
it's
word.
10 times worse than that. You know,
Yeah,
especially if you're
absolutely.
waiting for it, and it's chopping and not giving you the setup, right?
Yep.
So yeah, that's even worse.
So then after that, like I was like, I'm not doing this, and I went back to scalping. And then at the end of January, I had taken an account for all of the trades that I did. I went through how many were successful and weren't, then what were not, how many trades I took, and I started like breaking it down and saying, okay, now I'm going to break this down, and I'm going to only do this many trades, and I'm going to look for this setup, and slowly just getting into these, so I could transition to the EWO. Because I know the impact it has. I know that it has value. And when you're a trainer, because we're all trainers, right? You got to be able to do both. I mean, this is how I look at it. I got to be able to do both strategies if I'm going to train on it. And I don't have any business opening my mouth and talking about the process if I can't physically do it myself. Like, I have no business talking about it. If I'm not successful doing it, I don't feel like I should talk about it. You know, that's why you don't hear me talk about options. I don't know squat about it. I'm not going to talk about it. I couldn't do it. I mean, I've done one, and yes, it was successful, but that's beside the point. That doesn't make me a genius. That doesn't make me somebody who should come in here and train on it. So
Absolutely.
if before I could ever do that, I have to be able to go in and understand how the process works. Now I don't know how to shut that off. Hold on.
Attention. He looked like, or he sounded like he was getting pissed off at you for a second.
There we go. I think I got it. Market's open. But it's breaking it down, right? So that very first thing was you get in just on that EWO bar at the bottom, and you just do that on paper trading. Don't use real money. Don't be dumb, right? Come on.
Right.
And then just do it. Paper trade it. You know, got in. Watch to see what it does. And if you've been here a while, you know, after you have successfully done that and it's gone a little ways, take a still screenshot of it and put it in a Word document, and then write out what you see. You know, we know this. Where's VWAP? What's the trend? Where's the indicators? Are they in your rearview mirror? You know, what are you up against? The 200 and VWAP? You know, are you at VWAP? Should you have even gotten in? But first, it's just getting in. Just get in, you know, and then go through the rest of it. So breaking each of those pieces down, and then, you know, that final stages of, you know, the steps 3 and 4 that I broke it down is, you know, shedding in the right spots. So, you know, after being here a while, you've seen these charts enough where you have a general idea of how the process is supposed to go, but you have to slow yourself down enough to be able to sit through it. I have successfully sat through more than plenty EWOs, several of which have lasted all day. And I'm telling you, by the end of the day, I was ready to punch something. Honest to God. I mean, this was last week.
Yeah.
There is not enough fidget to get you through an entire day of one EWO. One.
Crazy.
I was ready to break things.
Oh my God.
Get me out of this office. I was
How many broken fidget spinners? Wow. Fidget spinners do you have that you've tossed across the room?
No, this would leave a hole. And these are heavy. They're not like just little cheap little plastic things. Like this would leave a mark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Trent, do you do the 2-minute EWO strategy?
I got a story. So how I got to here.
Tell us about it. Shout out to everybody down there in the chat. We'll get to you guys in a sec.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here.
I kind of started getting interested in this stocks and stuff, just trading like this about 6 months ago. So I got into a platform, a broker, and somehow they got access to my account and completely drained my savings down to $11. So
what? The broker did?
Yeah, someone did. Someone got in there, and I turned it into the FBI thing and everything else, and nothing happened. So
Wow.
Yeah, so that was a little setback, and then I saw Coach on TikTok, and he was just real, and I just totally got vested in American Dream Trading, and then I paper traded for about a month, and I felt good, and I started mixing too many things and pressing and doing the one more trade thing, and just really struggled last month. So I kind of had another setback. But then, and so I quit trading real money again. Went back to paper trading, and
which is a smart thing to do.
Yeah, these last couple days with Mark, and shout out to Coco, have just, I don't know, just something clicked. And so today, before my best day was, honestly, it was $6 and I think 50 or 75 cents or something.
Yeah.
And then today, it ended up being $172.
Nice. Good job.
I didn't have one red trade. Now,
so you were being vicariously trained through Coco, basically.
100%. Yeah.
He was training Coco, but you were getting the lessons and taking heed as you were trading.
I was Coco. Yeah. Like,
yeah.
Everything she was doing, I was doing. Not that Coco, you do things great. But we were the same people. We want to get in and out, and we want to press one more trade. And when you go down 14, I can't go down again. And then I go down, and it's like, I can get that back in one trade. And it just, yeah. But that session, these last 2 days, have something clicked. And today was great. Made 172 off, and I was paper trading, and I wasn't in with an unrealistic number of 500 shares. I did one share of $400 something, and I mean $172. That was
good, man.
It felt
that was really good.
It felt so good to finally have a breakthrough.
That was my next question. How did that make you feel, knowing that you took that advice and you, yeah.
And I had to tell myself, you're grounded for a month still. Like, it's just one day. So
right. Well, you just got to work on consistency, and don't forget to journal what you did right, so that when you fall off the wagon, you can go back to it and remember
today
those
might
moments.
have been the first day I journaled where it didn't have 4 or 5 swear words in it. But it was just, I don't know. I'm so excited with.
Well, good for you, Trent.
How today went.
I'm happy for you, brother.
Thanks, Don. I appreciate it. I was so excited to come on here tonight too. To just the EWO, like that's what did it for me today. Like the EWO is amazing.
Okay, so with that being said, no, you're good. No, I want you dude. That's what this show is for. I'm happy that you had a platform where you could come and share that, and we could be happy for you, right?
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
All 3 of you did an EWO trade today, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so with that being said, let's take a look at them real quick, so that the people out there can basically get a gist of what it is that they should be looking for. So since you last spoke, Trent, we'll go ahead and start with you first. So what did you trade today?
It was gold.
Okay.
And then, I think it was gold.
All right, let me go ahead and do that so that my hat's not all up in the screen. So it was gold. I'll go ahead and pull up gold. So it was it micro gold or gold mini, E-mini?
Micro, yeah, micro gold.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let me. At one point, I did trade gold. Let me get rid of my lines. Okay, so what time did you get in?
I'm not even.
Miranda, thank you for the super chat, honey. What time would you say you got in?
It was this morning. I can't even remember what time it was.
You didn't put it in your journal?
I don't have my journal by me.
Trent, you're busted. Did you even make this trade, dude?
Yeah. You got me, Don. You got me.
So we can take a look at gold today, though, and just take a look at the EWOs down here. There's several, actually.
Yeah, yeah.
Gold is a beast. Like, okay, this one right here. Say you got in. What time is this one? This one is. Okay, so this is 2 o'clock. So 1400. That would be 2 o'clock in the morning, wouldn't it?
2 o'clock in the afternoon.
All right, so it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Right. Because 2 o'clock would be 2 o'clock. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you were to get into this at say 2 o'clock this afternoon, right?
Mm-hmm. I might have got in that this afternoon. That might have been. Yeah, that was one
Trent,
of my guys.
You blew it. You're done, Trent. We're just gonna go. We're just gonna go off of this. All right. So check this out. What we're gonna do right here is an EWO entry, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, and Ange and Sour, if you think I'm not on point, let me know, or let me know what you would do different. But right here is where I'm looking at the second candle that is larger than the ones before it, right? Which is what Coach always taught us. What? Hold on. Okay, so right here. So technically that would be this one. Now this should coincide with the crossover of the 9 and 21, which if we look up here, that's pretty much exactly what's happening. So the 9 is crossed over the 21 and it's also crossed over VWAP. And you've got a break and hold over the 9. And you've got energy in this candle. Am I safe to say that if hypothetically, if you were getting in this, we'll start with Ange, would this be your entry? Would this be the proper entry?
I myself would take the chance and I would get into this, but I could see where someone who maybe newer might wait for that break and hold of the next candle, just because of where that
up here.
I'm assuming that's the 200.
Yes.
Yeah,
it is.
Some people might wait till the break above 200 before they get in, but I would have taken the chance.
You would have, and from listening to Mark over the past couple of weeks, I know he would have too.
I would have.
You would have.
I would have waited until it. So what I did today is I waited until it broke and held above every indicator, or below, obviously.
Okay.
But I mean, it just worked today, maybe.
Gotcha. And what about you, Sour? What would have been your entry at this point?
I probably wouldn't have at all, to be honest, because I have never had a good experience with it being stuck in between VWAP and the 200. Even today, I saw a whole lot of that. And it's just super volatile. Never a good entrance. Though this is an exception. But if I were to get into this EWO, it would be after it broke the 200. Broken held over the 200.
That's a nugget. I don't know if you guys were listening to that. That was a nugget right there. So it is trapped between the 200 and VWAP. And you're saying that because of the back testing that you've done and just screen time that you've put in, you've seen where that usually ends up in volatile situations. It's better to wait for the break of the 200, in your opinion.
Yes.
Okay, so with this one, it did work out because it ends up, going up. But that's a nugget that you want to write down in your journals if you have them with you, and hopefully you do. Be mindful of it being caught between indicators, between the 200, between VWAP, specifically between the 200 and VWAP, because that's what Sauer just mentioned, that was the actual setup, right? But in this case, it actually worked out. I would be sketchy as well because I've been pretty much waiting until the break of the 200. Whenever I approach the 200, and this is because, for the past couple of years, I've had bad experiences where I did not wait for the break and hold of the 200, dismissing it. It's not like it's VWAP, right? It's over VWAP. I'm going to do it. And then it'll go against me. It'll bounce right off the 200 and come right back down. So I've learned over the couple of years that I've been doing this to respect the 200. So yeah, I probably would have waited as well. But that's just me. As you can see, this continued to the upside, right? Everything fanned out, all the indicators fanned out, and the EWO is still going. No indication whatsoever to get out of this thing, right? So then it continues up. The candles are still rising up over VWAP. The 9 is over VWAP here. It dipped under, but it's over it here. And then it reaches high of day, right? And then you've got this huge gamma candle. I know it's technically not gamma, but this huge Mariposa candle, right? And if you look down at your EWO bars, they're starting to roll down the hill. They're getting smaller, right? But the trade has still got the green EWO. Do you get out here or do you sit in it?
I got out on that first tall green. I know there was no true indicator to get out, but I did.
Okay. Ange, what about you in that scenario?
If I would have got in when I was supposed to, I would have. There's a good chance that big candle would have probably freaked me out a little bit, and I'd probably gotten out right after it. But the proper spot would be the break and hold below. At least in my opinion, the proper spot would be the break and hold below either. What is that?
VWAP.
Well, in this case, in this case, it'd be VWAP, I guess. So I guess where the big candle is, it'd be safe to say that
when it starts breaking,
would have probably gotten out. Yeah.
Yeah.
With VWAP being right there, right? Like we're not supposed to play around VWAP.
Right. Especially if it breaks under, that's the clear sign to get out.
Yeah, I wouldn't play. And that red candle would have. I can almost guarantee you. Holy crap.
That's a long ass red candle.
Mm-hmm.
Sauer, you agree with that?
Yeah, depending on if there was resistance that it just hit. But at that point, I hopefully would have been pretty low after shedding probably twice at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have only had one contract in there, and I will personally keep a contract in until the next EWO starts.
Is that a best practice that you do?
To finish off an EWO, I think it is. I think this for the same way an EWO starts, it does have to end at some point. And the ending of that is when in this case, when the red EWO appeared. And that's when I would have finally gotten out of that trade.
Gotcha. So I love it because you're shedding. First of all, you're using a strategy that, Coach talks about, which is shedding. Where would you have shed in here?
I'd have to have it charted out because it'd be at resistance lines.
Okay.
Every single one of them. I don't even care if there's pullback. As long as it hit the resistance line, I believe that it is a reasonable decision to shed And
At
I
the
do have a piece
resistance.
of paper next to me that says, oh, it was like 50%, 20%, 20%, and then the final 10%.
There you go.
Which isn't always accurate because of the amount of contracts you're in. I'm still
Mhm.
paper trading, so the amount of contracts really doesn't matter.
Right.
But I think sitting and watching the charts, I think it is also a good thing to train on.
Sweet. So you would have held your last one through that until it turned into the red EWO.
Yes.
Awesome. Just trying to see if it turned. Well, it's a small red one here. Here you guys can see it clearly broke and held under the 9. This is where the start of the red EWO was. Seems like it lasted a little bit. My entry, if it were me, would have been this candle right here. But it's also near this line. So I would have been, sketchy about getting in it, thinking that, well, if it's going down, I might want to wait for it to break and hold this level. Ange, does that sound like something you would do, or would I be giving up money if I waited? Because that's the 200 right there. Right?
Yeah, I don't know that unless I was in this really heavy, I don't know that I would have taken that.
Gotcha. Yeah,
I mean, to be honest with you, because it also has everything to do with where any lines were drawn. So I would go to bat just by looking at that there's some support there.
Yeah, 200's right here.
And yeah, so then there's the 200. Yeah, I don't know that I would have taken that. I think I would have sat this one out and I would have waited for the next setup. Even though it could keep going and do its thing the rest of the day, but the setup for it to get in it at the beginning, it just wasn't there for me. And it would also depend on what kind of volume it appeared like it had in there at the time. Like how was the candle reacting live?
Right. Okay.
How was the market at the time? Was there any were we in it? What was the time? What time was that even?
Let me look. It was 2300. So that is what? Is that 1 o'clock in the morning, basically?
Yeah.
So assuming somebody would be up even trading at that hour.
Yeah, well, I definitely wouldn't have been in it. Just saying. The only thing I would be doing at this point is counting the candles in my
and the sheep going over the fence, right?
That's just what I do when I sleep. No, I probably was in this trade in my sleep. I don't even know.
But the funny thing is,
so going back to that long red.
This one?
Yeah. So it didn't break and hold below the 9, but you're starting to play with that VWAP. And we want to stay away from VWAP because of the pull. Would you guys have gotten out right there because it is on VWAP now, or would you still ride it out?
I could tell you from my experience, I don't trade at night, so I wouldn't have even been looking at this. Just because I like to have a little bit more volume. So if I was going to do anything with gold, for me personally, it wouldn't be until after 2 a.m. And that's just me personally. So I couldn't even tell you by looking at this, I wouldn't even touch it.
Yeah, it actually ended up going down quite a bit.
I've never seen VWAP hug candles like that.
I know, I haven't either. That's what.
I don't think that's.
Yeah, that's nuts. But in looking at it overall, though, gang, this is a good ass EWO. Because look at it. It's choppy, but look at it. From here down to here, it stayed red. It never even seemed to get out. I mean, I know we wouldn't get it, but good Lord, this thing went all the way down here, up here. But you don't see that when you're in the moment. That's the crazy thing about this thing. There's no way to know that was going to happen. So you've got to go off of what you know and what the chart's telling you in that moment, to Angie's point. So, but this is just crazy in hindsight what ends up happening in these trades, that it's like, well, shit, I could have sat in that for a couple of hours and I would have made a ton of money. I mean, there's times when I do that. I'll be in a chart, I'll be in a scalp, and I'll look back at it and I'm like, well, wow, I went in and out of this 5 times, when if I had just stayed in the first entry, look where it went, and it'll be like runs like maybe from here to here. But if I look back at it, it's like, wow, look at that. If I had just stayed in it from here and didn't get in and out throughout here and just rode it to here before, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's one of like the biggest things that I pay attention to, like before I ever get in, is one is the second bar bigger than the previous? Where is VWAP? What's the trend? Where are the rest of the indicators? Am I between the 200 and VWAP? What's going on in between there? Am I sitting on an indicator? Because if I am, I'm going to wait for the break and hold above it or below it, whichever one it is, because I sit in futures.
Right.
What time is it, right? Like, is it pre-market hours? Where I'm golden with getting up early in the morning and taking an EWO and getting my day done. Like, that's my whole goal. I want to be done trading as early as possible. Like, that's what my end game is here. Because I do want to be able to reap the reward of the hard work that I've put in.
Mm-hmm.
Not only just as a trainer, but in my own life personally.
Right.
So I'm paying attention to all those things, and then, so going back to like, what time is it? Are we getting closer to the open? Because I don't like to play in anything if it's the open. Is it time for margin hours to change? Because we typically see some volume increase about 30 minutes before that happens, and then about 30 to 45 minutes before the US Open. And then when US Open hits, if I'm not in something that I'm so far in it that I need to stay in it because it would make no sense to get out, I'm sitting on my hands and I'm not in it. I'm not in nothing.
You're waiting for the New York session.
Yep. That's about the time Sauer comes in here and we talk about pre-market EWOs that we were in, when we talk through the trades, and kind of get an idea and a game plan for the day at that point. And, then we split off and we go on our merry way, for the rest of the day until he comes up when he's done, but then the rest of it's training, and watching for more. I could sit here all day and practice entries. Like I practice all the time. Like it's almost ridiculous how much I practice. But the more you see it, and then back testing, right? We could do the same thing. I like a live chart. I like live data. I like to see it in its function. But then to go back and then, take a snip of each one of those EWOs and then sit here and walk myself through, okay, why is this EWO? This is an EWO according to the EWO bars. But why did it fail? And then I need to be able to identify why it failed, because there's a good chance that in a day or two, I'm going to see that same exact setup. So then it becomes repetition. I remember we're between VWAP and the 200. And the rest of the indicators are kind of jumbled in the middle. Ooh, I know not to get in that. Like you just start to pick up on these little things. And then I got chopped up by an EWO today. I did. I got in one, and actually he got in it too. It was very promising. It looked like it was going to do something solid. And, I took a $30 loss on it. And I'm telling you what, that $30 loss pissed me off.
It should.
Yeah, because it was a great setup and it just so happened to fail. And that happens.
Do you mind if we pull that up?
Yes, it's on ES.
It was on ES.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
looking right at it.
Let's take a look at it.
See, I'm not a huge fan of ES. We watch it a lot, but God, it gets me a lot.
She's a booger.
It is.
Yeah, it'll turn on you.
And that's kind of what I did today. Is I like for a short period, I just jumped around to different micros and just kind of looked at where I would get in an EWO at and kind of where it went from there, and like just kind of talked to myself about when I would have got out or what would have gone different on me, and it was, I don't know, it was good.
So I have MES pulled up. Should I pull up ES or is MES okay?
I have ES main. I don't know.
Okay.
I have
Do
the
ES.
mini version.
If you have ES main pulled up, remember, do ES main because VWAP is slightly different.
Okay, so this is ES main here. So what time did you guys get in? Which one are you talking about?
All right. So at the second candle for the EWO says 9:28.
Okay, so let's go to. Let's make sure we're in today. This is 5:14. What time frame am I on? Oh, I'm on the 1 hour. No wonder. Hold on.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm like, what is going on? And you said 9:28? All right, so right here is 9:28. Is that when you got in it? You said 9:28?
I don't think you're at the right time.
Yeah, because that's like right here.
So the one that I did, and I knew right away when I got into it that it was terrible. It was at 11. It was at 11:09:29 Eastern.
Okay, so this is 11:08 because I'm on a 2 minutes. It's not going to give me 9. So this is 11:08 right here.
Something looks off. Let me.
I'm on ES main 2 minute. Yep, today's date. Is it the extended hours or something?
Hold on a second. Let me do this.
You can share your screen if you want.
Yeah, I thought about that too. Let me write this down because I don't typically write down like my actual entries and exits. I just talk about how if I did a shitty trade.
Okay.
And that was at 11:09. And then I got out 585825 11:15 03. All right, so let's go here. And
I've been muted.
You've been muted?
Yes, I'm looking right at it right now. On your screen, it'd be at 10:30. It'd be that red EWO.
Okay, so Here we are. Right here.
Yep.
All right, so right here is 10:30. Which is right here.
Yep. And that was the entrance for the 2-minute EWO, with the second candle being larger than the first.
It looks flat.
Right.
Down here?
At the time, I think at the time it had a lot of volume, because the candles that I'm looking at were huge and didn't really move any direction, but had high highs and low lows. That's why I would say it was definitely a bad EWO. But it did end up working out, because as you can see, it did go down eventually.
Yeah.
And then moments later, big green candle hit our stops, and that trade was done right there.
Wow.
Yeah, and so that was the one he was in, and so the one that I was in was the long that was next to that. So mine was after the green candle.
This one?
Yeah, it was the little one. So it would have been, I got in it. So it was the 11:09 that I got in. So I got in thinking that it was going to continue to go to the upside after it broke those indicators. But what I didn't have a line drawn in that spot. And if I would have had it charted and had a line sitting in that spot, I would have never gotten into it.
Which I don't know that I would have had a line right there, but you never know.
Yeah, and I would have, looking back historically, I would have had, because it would have been at one point somewhere around earlier in the morning, that would have been a support line, which is where VWAP was sitting over there back around, what would that be, 5 o'clock?
Right here.
Yeah. So I should have had a line there. So my point is when I got into it, I knew right away I had effed up. And I know I always have a stop, and I always have a mental stop. So I knew that I'm not going to, because I wasn't quite sure what it was going to do, that I knew that I had a little bit of leeway, and I was willing to risk a little bit should I need to, but I certainly wasn't going to let it come down to my stop.
Right.
But I'm still pissed I lost $30.
I don't blame you.
You know, not having a line charted, which is it's not just like a willy-nilly line. Like if I would have had this charted properly, there would have been a line here and I would have never got into it. But so that's what happens when you get into something and you're not fully prepared. Like you think you see something, just when you think you see it, it's not.
That's where people go into the whole, hey, I got into it and it went against me.
Yep.
And
that's
it's
exactly
not,
what it is.
Yeah, it's because you didn't have it marked out. That's all.
Yep.
You know, it's no
So
rocket science.
even, you know, I mean, I like to take good ones, but once in a while that happens, you know, and those are just those stupid little errors that you do sometimes.
Yep.
You know, yes, Boomer, bad EWO, bad. Yeah, I know.
Boomers down
Hey, but
there.
I know we both saw some great AWOs today too. I'd say today so far this week was the best for EWOs. I know Monday was horrible for it, but it's just gotten better throughout the week.
Yeah, it seems like it was choppier earlier in the week, and they've leveled out. Like there was some good runs this afternoon on M2K and ES, which, you know, they're both indices. But at one point, I remember this morning, I think M2K was going down while ES was going up. At one point, they separated a little bit, and but they were good runs in both directions. But then they met back up, like not too long after that. But for a split second, it looked like they were going to split up because I've seen them do that before. But yeah. Let's see. Don't forget to smash the like button down there, gang. We've got a good turnout tonight. 62 people in here. This is awesome. Thank you, guys. Coach, I'm sure Coach will appreciate the super trends down there. That is amazingly awesome. Look at that. Look at all the super trends down there. You guys are awesome. Where was that first one? Thank you, Miranda. Buckeye. Bucko, F2. Eminem.
Marcus has a good question here. On the EWO, where do you usually place your stops, and do you only do them in the direction of VWAP or both directions?
Sweet. I'm gonna finish thanking everybody real quick.
Oh, sorry,
Timo,
I apologize.
Yes, no problem. Timo, thank you. F2, thank you again. F2, thank you. Miranda again. Eminem again. That is awesome, you guys. Frederick, Bucko, good. Let's see here. So, can you repeat that?
I apologize.
Who asked? No, I like to thank everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because that I'm sure Coach appreciates that. So
yeah, I'm sure he does. On the EWO, where do you usually place your stops, and do you only do them in one direction of VWAP or both directions? So I guess he's kind of wondering where to place your stops on a EWO.
All depends on when you enter. It all depends, because that matters. I never place a take profit because I'm assuming that's what he's asking. I don't do both directions, so I only have one stop and I never take profit, just because I don't want to. Why do that? Why limit yourself? And that's also something we teach here, but it's also my personal preference as well. And then what else was there? He asked. Yeah, and as for stop loss for risk, for your risk to reward ratio, that's given based on your account. So me telling you what I do for myself is going to be could potentially be completely catastrophic for most people. So I would suggest you not do that. So it's really personal preference. So we know what our risk is. Like, you don't risk more than 1 to 3% of your account. So just take that based on your account size and decide how you want to manage your risk that way. And that'll help you decide what your stop should be to make sure that you are not risking the loss of your account and breaking the rules.
there you go.
And Mark kind of talked about, so I was always setting my stops at the 9. And I was getting stopped out all the time. And Mark kind of talked about this morning how below the 9, like if you get down to the 21 and the 55, then you're gonna start to pucker a little bit. So you might want to set your stop somewhere around there versus the 9, because it touches the 9 a lot. So
It does.
Yeah, that was just kind of something that Mark talked about this morning.
Yeah, it respects the 9 and the 21 a lot. You know what I mean? So, and usually that's me personally. That's where I end up usually putting my stops, usually between the 9 and the 21. And that way, you know, if it breaks the 20, if it breaks the 9, but doesn't quite, because that's what it tends to do. It'll kind of wick through a little bit, almost like it's going to hit the 21 and, you know, break back down below if it's, you know, whether it's to the upside or downside. So I put it under the 9 because I don't want it to, you know, get wicked out. And usually that works, you know, so yeah, usually that works.
Personally, for that question, where to put my stop, I like to have mine right on the 21. I've been paper trading, so I could imagine when it comes to real money, it would just depend on how much you like your cash, because the market is not always guaranteed. So at any point you put your stop, that is a good indication of you're willing to give up that amount of money or that amount of space before, like, you can't take any more pullback. But we also had a workshop class today, and they specifically mentioned good places to have your stop right below resistance lines, just directly below, as you cross them. And then me personally, I would keep mine on the 21 because it does like to until an EWO, like a good distance EWO forms, and then your stop can be a little farther away. But until you're far enough in the green, I think having it just below the 21 is a good place.
I agree. I think Boomer keeps his down there too. He says he keeps his 25 ticks away, and then obviously he'll move it up if it moves. But yeah, I agree. I completely agree. Because you got to also think too, another thing that sometimes I forget about, and that could be why I get stopped out, you know, when I do get stopped out, is it wicks down. And usually if it wicks below the 9, it will damn near touch the 21, you know, but it won't break the 21. So having it just below the 21 is actually a really good idea, because you're kind of assured that it won't wick you out. You know, usually the wick will be enough to bounce off the 21, but not pierce it, you know?
Right.
Uh, 921 and 2155 crossover is just good for confidence for momentum. Yeah, I agree. Coach is saying that you know, the crossover is just confidence for momentum there. Because normally when you see that, it just kind of lets you know that everything's moving in the right direction. You know what I mean? Doug Moon says, smash the like button, everybody. We got 61 people and 47 likes. So thank you for the likes. We appreciate it. Let's get it up to 60. Let's get it matched up.
I'm going to call it a night, Don.
I was about to say, did you guys have anything else you wanted to add before we get out of here?
Nope, it's getting too close to my bedtime.
We can't keep Mama Bear out of bed.
No, Boomer, don't even say it, because it doesn't apply to me. So don't even say it.
You can sleep when you're dead.
Nobody asked you. Nobody asked you. You just wait. I'll have a big old jug of juicy moringa waiting for you at 4 a.m. in the morning.
Evil swamp water.
Well, thank you guys for being on here. Sour, it was good to meet you and finally see you in all your splendor. Got the, you know, the computer going and everything. He looks like a computer geek, like he would be into this.
Oh, yeah. Shoot, you can't. I can't adjust it to see everything, but yeah, it's a cool setup.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. You look like you're in a cockpit.
That's what it feels like. Yes.
Trent, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate you being here, dude.
Thank you guys. Like this was so awesome, and like I said, these last 2 days have been amazing. If anyone's not in Futures VIP, you're missing out.
Yep. Ange, thank you so much. I'm going to let you go to bed. We're going to end with Coach's Rules as we normally do. Thank you, everybody down there in the chat. Thank you so much for the super chats. I'm sure Coach appreciates that so much. I know I do. Thank you for showing your appreciation. And thank you for your questions, your comments down there. Miranda, Jeffrey, everybody, all you guys. Timo, Hudson, everybody down there. Thank you so much. Richard. Oh, no, it's Rachel. Rachel, are you Crispy's friend, Rachel? Because we had somebody came in that sounded exactly like Crispy, and I think she said her name was Rachel. That was pretty awesome. Let me go ahead and find Coach's rules. But before I do, don't forget to go to AmericanDreamTrading.com and go ahead and get signed up with that Diamond membership. I'm pretty sure Coach is probably going to kill that Memorial Day. So, Coach, you're down there. You can confirm it if you want. But I'm pretty sure that after Memorial Day, that is going to be null and void. So you might want to take advantage of it. There are a lot of people taking advantage of that Diamond membership because they know once it goes away, that's going back up to 20K. And right now it's 5, and it gives you every package that we offer. You'll have access to all the rooms, all the breakout rooms, all the gold rooms, all the VIP rooms, the mentorship program. I mean, it includes everything. So time's a wasting. Go ahead and knock that out, right? So with that being said, every good night, peace and blessings, and I'll see you guys 4 a.m. mañana.
I see some people in the profits and loss area when they take an L, it's always because they, air quotes, thought it was going to do something else. Am I right? How many times have you guys stayed in a bad trade because you thought, well, I know it's going down, but
Too many touches and had to break.
Yep.
The other day.
Yep.
The other day.
Yep.
Good morning with LGM.
Yeah, you'll go, oh, it didn't bounce there. Oh, maybe it will here. Nah, well, it didn't. Okay, well, maybe here. Oh, well, you know what? Damn it. Now I'm down 30% on the trade. Well, you know what? I'm already in 30%. Let's go ahead. I can just wait just a little bit more. It's no big deal. If it, oh, whoops, now it's 50%. Well, you know what? I didn't go that big. Oh, 70%. Oh, knife drop. Damn it. 75%. Well, I'm in it now. I might as well just hold on the rest of the day. Drops down 85%. You get out. It rebounds. And then at the end of the day, like, oh my gosh, I just would have stayed in. Yep. So how about this? How about the second it breaks the rules of what it's supposed to do, you just get your out and you reassess. I need everybody to follow the rules that are in here. Every single time that I see anybody that is not succeeding, the first thing you can always see is they broke the rules. Sorry, coach, I broke the rules. I can't believe I did that again. How about today? We just start out with, I'm not going to break the freaking rules, right? The rules are there for a reason, okay? If you haven't heard my rules, I've got a good list of them, and you have to follow all. You don't get to cherry pick my rules, okay? You need to come in with an empty cup. I don't care how many courses. I don't care how many online activities you've been a part of. I don't care how many rooms you've been in. I don't even give a how long you've been trading. You need to come in with an empty cup, okay? Because guess what? If you were the world's greatest trader, you wouldn't be watching me right now. In this room, with me, a real professional coach that I've trained millions of people, inside of here, you will learn to be an actual stock market trader and not a call-out chaser, okay? Now, I know you see a lot of people out there selling you stuff, brand new kids. I've been trading for 4 years, so I'm going to sell a Discord and all this other bullshit. Well, that's not us. We've made over 10 millionaires inside of this room, and 8 of them had never traded a day in their life. Nobody has those statistics. I don't care where you go. I don't care how many YouTube subscribers they have. I don't care how long they've been in the game doing training. None of that. The proof is in the pudding. Oh, coach, well, how is your trading? My trading doesn't mean so my proof in the pudding is how are you doing? How is my community doing? Not how I am doing. So if you guys are looking to just watch somebody trade and not learn how to trade, there's plenty of people that'll do that and brag about how great they did in their trading and the success that they did in trading. You're not going to get that in here. My job is to train you. Please follow the rules. Nobody go rogue. Some of the rules that we have to and live and die by in here is do not lose more than 1 to 3% of your total account value in any given day. Make sure you have stop losses on each and every trade, regardless of shares and or options. Make sure you guys are practicing small base hits. Don't go for home runs. Allow the runners to run and stop out the losers. If you're a new trader, make sure you are paper trading using a simulated trading system such as Webull or some of the other ones that are out there. If you are an expert trader, please make sure you also are being careful the first 3 minutes and the last 8 to 9 minutes of the day. Those are the absolute most volatile times in the entire market. Also, if you're a newer trader, please don't trade in the first 30 minutes or the last hour of the day. Those are the most dangerous times.